OxyMBBS. One-step solution for all medical studies.
Now friends, let's talk about in more detail about the microscopic structure of the bone. So this is the bone and this one is the cross section of the bone taken like this. And this is a small piece of the bone taken like this. As you all know, this outer layer of the bone, as this one is this layer, is called, this is which layer? This is the periosteum. And this periosteum contains two layers. One outer layer that is made up of dense, irregular connective tissue. That is why this outer layer of the periosteum is called fibrous layer. Why it is called fibrous layer? Because it contains dense, irregular connective tissues. And this outer layer also have these fibroblast cells. And these fibroblast cells maintains this irregular connective tissue. And the inner layer of the periosteum contains mainly osteoprogenitor cells. These are which cells? These are osteoprogenitor cells. As these osteoprogenitor cells can convert into chondroblast as well as in the osteoblast cells. And the function of osteoblast cell is to secrete collagen fibers in the matrix, and these osteoblast cells also helps in the mineralization of the bone. And as you all know, what is mineralization? It is deposition of hydroxyl apatite in between the collagen fibers. As this inner layer is forming bone, that is why it is called, this layer is also called osteogenic layer and also called cambium layer. So outer layer is which layer? This is fibrous layer, and inner layer is which layer? This is osteogenic layer, as well as it is also called cambium layer. Now you will have a question in your mind that why this inner layer of the periosteum is called cambium layer. So it is very simple, friends. As this layer contains which cells? As it contains osteoprogenitor cells, and these osteoprogenitor cells converts into osteoblast cells, convert or differentiated into osteoblast cells, and these osteoblast cells first secretes, what secretes? Collagen fibers, and then helps in the deposition of minerals within these collagen fibers. And because of this, the thickness of the bone is increased, like cambium layer which is present in the plants, and it causes increase in the thickness of the plant. That is why its name is given cambium layer. Now let's talk about the functions of the periosteum layer. Functions of the periosteum layer. One function is protection, as it is present on the outer side. That is why it protects the bone. It protects the bone. And second one is it provides attachment site for the muscles, ligaments or tendons. Attachment site for the muscles, tendon or ligaments. Third one that is very important. Third one is periosteum helps in fracture repair. How? Let's see. Let's suppose a gap is produced in between the periosteal layer, and this gap is called fracture. It is called fracture. Now what will happen in the periosteal layer? As these osteoprogenitor cells first converts into chondroblast, and these chondroblast cells secretes what? Cartilage, and then after these osteoprogenitor cells divides and produces osteoblast cells, and then these osteoblast cells secretes collagen fibers and causes deposition of hydroxyl apatite within the collagen fibers as well as in the cartilage. In this way, friends, a new bone is formed in the fractured part of the bone. Fourth function of the periosteum is to provide nourishment to the bone tissue. How? As these periosteal layer has blood vessels, and these blood vessels are called periosteal vessels, and through these blood vessels nutrition is supplied to the bone tissue. So friends, again, what are the functions of the periosteum? First function is protection of the bone. Second one is attachment site for the muscles, tendon and ligaments. Third, it assists in the fracture repair. And fourth one is it provides nourishment to the bone tissue. Now after periosteum, this one is that part which is going to form compact bone tissue and also spongy bone tissue. Okay, as you all know, these are which cells which is having projections? These are osteocytes cells. These are osteocytes cell. Friends, we will discuss this part later on in this video. First, let's talk about this inner layer that is called endosteum. It is called endosteum. So this one is the endosteum layer, and this layer contains these osteoblast cells. These are osteoblast cells, fibroblast cells, and this large cell is called osteoclast cell. And this layer also have dense irregular connective tissue. This layer, this endosteum layer also contains these osteoprogenitor cells. So endosteum and periosteum are more similar to each other. They are more similar to each other. Now let's talk about these osteoblast cells and these osteoclast cells in detail. So I am taking this single cell here, and this is which layer? This is osteoblast cell. And these osteoblast cells secretes collagen proteins. So these are collagen proteins or collagen fibers, and in the bone mainly type 1 collagen proteins or collagen fibers are present. So osteoblast secretes type 1 collagen proteins. Now how will you remember that type 1 collagen protein is produced or secreted by these osteoblast cells? It is very simple, friends, as this protein is present in the bone. Just write bone here. This is the bone. Now in the bone, this ONE will remind you that this is related to 1. It means in the bone type 1 collagen proteins or collagen fibers are present, and these collagen proteins forms a framework in the bone. This forms a framework in the bone. And now one very important question is that how these collagen fibers are arranged within the bone. Let's suppose this is a bone and these are osteons which runs parallel to the long axis of the bone. And these collagen fibers are arranged like this. They are tangential to the bone. They are not parallel as well as they are not perpendicular. They are tangentially. And because of such arrangement of the collagen fibers or collagen proteins, the strength in the bone is increased. These osteoblast cells also secretes non-collagenous proteins, and these are osteocalcin and osteonectin. And further in this video we will see what is the importance of these proteins. So now our osteoblast cells have secreted collagen proteins. As you can see here that collagen proteins are synthesized in the bone. As you can see here, there is no collagen, and these are type 1 collagen proteins and they are arranged tangentially. Okay friends, so this is the framework of the bone produced because of these osteocytes cells and by these collagen proteins which are synthesized by osteoblast cells. And within these framework, hydroxyl apatite is deposited. So this is the mineralized bone. This is mineralized bone and this is unmineralized bone. And bony structure at this stage is called, that is unmineralized bone is also called osteoid, and this one is the mineralized bone. This one is the mineralized bone. Now as you know, this is the fibrous layer of the periosteum, and it contains which tissue? It contains irregular dense connective tissue, and I have removed all the cells in the inner layer, and you can see clearly these are the bundles of collagen proteins which are perforating the bone, and after perforating they are joined with the concentric lamella and interstitial lamella. And because of these fibers, periosteum is firmly attached with the bone. As these bundles are discovered by Sharpe, that is why they are named Sharpe's fibers. As they are also perforating the bone tissue, that is why they are also named perforating fibers. As you can see clearly that these are the bundles of thick collagen proteins or connective tissue, and these are called Sharpe's fibers, or they are also called perforating fibers. So this is how our bone looks microscopically. Now friends, let's talk about in more detail about the hydroxyl apatite. So this is the artery which is supplying blood to the bone, and as you know, artery contains or blood vessels contains minerals and water, and mainly bone needs calcium and phosphorus as minerals. So all these elements, calcium, phosphorus and water together form calcium hydroxide and this H3PO4 molecule, and within the bone these two compounds react each other and they form this hydroxyl apatite. So a single molecule or single compound of hydroxyl apatite contains 10 molecules of calcium, 6 molecules of phosphate and 2 molecules of hydroxyl. And these hydroxyl apatites are solid. They are solid and they are crystal-like. And if we talk about the structure of the hydroxyl apatite, then it looks like this. And within this structure, calcium ions are arranged like this. These are calcium ion. And as you know, calcium is highly reactive. This is highly reactive, and because of this, it may react with other molecules if it is not kept at this position forcefully. So to keep these calcium ions at their position, a protein is required, and that protein is called osteocalcin, which was secreted by osteoblast cells. As a negative charge in the protein, in the osteocalcin protein, keeps these positively charged calcium ions at their position. So what is the function of the osteocalcin protein? To keep the calcium ions at their position. So now here hydroxyl apatite is ready to get deposited in the framework which is formed by the type 1 collagen fibers, and these are called extracellular matrix. And all these process of formation of hydroxyl apatite as well as deposition of these hydroxyl apatite within the framework is initiated by which cells? Yes friends, tell me fast. These are osteoblast cells. That is why osteoblast cells are called bone forming cells. They are called bone forming cells. And this process of deposition of hydroxylapatite within the framework of the collagen is called calcification. And because of this calcification, bone becomes hard. So friends, this is how hydroxylapatite is deposited within the collagen framework. As you know, one protein secreted by osteoblast is type 1 collagen fibers, second one is osteocalcin, and third one is osteonectin protein. So what is the function of this osteonectin protein? As you can see clearly here that these osteonectin protein joins hydroxylapatite with the collagen proteins. As a nectin word in the osteonectin protein means it connects hydroxylapatite with the collagen proteins. And after deposition of these minerals, that is hydroxylapatite within the framework, now the flexible bone becomes hard. Now friends, for our simplification, this structure of bone can be related with this column which is made up of concrete and rod. So these iron rods are our collagen proteins, and this concrete cement material is our mineral part, that is hydroxylapatite. So because of these iron rods, the flexibility or elasticity of this column increased. And only because of these iron rods, this column can bear very high load as well. And this concrete material provides proper contour to the column. And similar to this, because of these collagen proteins, elasticity of the bone is increased. And only because of these collagen proteins, bone cannot be easily broken. Even high pressure or force or load produced on the bone by the muscles, tendon, or by external appliances. External appliances means beating by the iron rods or wooden rods. So friends, this is bone after deposition of minerals within the framework of the collagen fibers. So friends, further we will discuss the clinical importance of this hydroxylapatite compound. Okay friends.